Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to today's video. Today's video, we are going to go through some Instagram questions and answers. I'm going to do the answering. You guys have asked some questions on Instagram. So we've got 10 that I've randomly selected and we are going to get into it. I hope you're all well. Hope you're all sitting comfy and I hope you're ready to listen to my mundane voice for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Anyway, first question. Is hey Jack, hello, that was a question. Next, I'm just kidding, that was a joke. Any utility in lifting shoes whilst hip hinging? So, no. However, I have anecdotally used it before and I have felt a little bit more stable. The only trouble is that with the heel elevation, you've just got to go a bit further down in order to kind of elongate the hamstrings. So you've got more travel, which probably means you're going to be less strong. You're probably not going to be as strong as you just go for a flat foot variation. Again, anecdotally, I actually found it to feel quite nice. But thinking about it logically, probably not the greatest thing. I would just use flat shoes, and I have done for quite a while. I think the last time I used lifters was probably like 2018. Yeah, about that. So a while. So I have switched back to flat foot, and I don't actually know the rationale for that. I've just switched back, and my strength has been pretty good since. Next question is, how do you feel about leg extensions? I feel great about them. They're a fine movement to shorten the quad. So that was an easy one. Next question, how can you tell if volume is too high? Very simply, per session, you'll just, and I'm sure many of you have had this before, you'll just get to the point, for example, like bicep curls. You get to like the third or fourth set, and then all of a sudden, it just feels like you're moving weight. It just feels like nothing's really happening. That's the point of like junk volume, so I would taper it back like 1 or 2 sets before that. And then go from there. If you're talking about sets per week, it's quite an easy one. It's tapping it, like for instance, you do a pull session. You've got a pull session coming up in 3 days, and when you do that pull session, you're still very, very sore. You're very, very fatigued, stuff like that. So actually being able to tell when volume is too much is actually relatively easy, to be honest. So yeah, too low is a little bit of a weird one, because essentially what happens is if volume is too low, your strength just goes up and up and up and up. However, could you do more and see similar strength progressions? Yeah, maybe. So I like to, with clients, especially when I've got like a new client coming on board, I don't really look at their volume, what they're handling now. What I do is just give them very low amounts of volume. It's almost like when you make like a spaghetti bolognese. It's like you just put a little bit of salt in. You don't put like fucking the whole jar of salt, whatever. You don't put the whole tub of salt in. You basically put a little bit of salt in, you taste test it, and then you see if you need more salt. Same with volume, right? You don't just go put all the salt in, taste it, oh, it's too salty. We can't really do too much about taking it away unless we deload, or in that case, chuck it in the bin, start afresh. So yeah, that's volume too high is pretty easy to gauge, to be honest. Next question: are you concerned with mercury poison with things like tuna? No. I think if you have it every single day and it's probably in like 2 or 3 meals, probably would be worth tapering that down. I think for me personally, I'm not worried about it because I only have fish like once a week. So yeah, I'm not personally too worried about it. If you have fish, yeah, again, like every day, twice a day, I'd probably be not concerned, but I would definitely look into it a little bit more. I can't say with people I've coached, I can't see, or haven't ever had someone whose sole source of protein was something like tuna. It's something that you just have in potentially like every once in a while. It's not necessarily an everyday driver with protein. So I haven't seen mercury poison with any of my clients, but again, they don't really have that as a staple. Protein source. Next question: is there any measurable downside to just having a protein shake upon weight gain and mass? Not that I think of at all, to be honest. Yeah, like I'd say that's actually a pretty good thing. And also, if you're very much like food makes you a little bit lethargic and you've got like work to do, then it's probably a very good thing to wake up, have a protein shake, get on with your day, and be pretty focused. So I can't really see any downside to this, other than potentially like if you have to add, like if your calories are like 5,000-6,000 calories a day, and that shake's only like 100 calories, then you've got a lot of making up to do in the other like 3, 4, 5 meals, right? So that could be like a downside, but apart from that, all good. Next question. What is your favorite bicep exercise? It fluctuates. Like recently it has been the machine bicep curl. Nice strong. They have a very good preacher curl. It's actually at the gym I train in Peterborough, Bodyworks. That's one of the best ever preacher curls. It's just insane. Feels so good. For like the commercial gym, I get like a V bar, and it's kind of weird to explain because it's like a V and then it's like turns into a little bit of a T at the top. But I basically go into the inside grip, allow my kind of elbows to come out in front of me a little bit, and then use that variation. That could be technically my favorite for like all gyms, because most gyms have that attachment, but if I'm in Bodyworks, it's definitely that nice drum preacher curl for sure. I think anything, to be honest, I much prefer and favor in terms of like just general connection, just working in the short-term position. And I don't know why, but if I work in like a lengthened position, like a cable bicep curl, I do feel my biceps, and it's obviously worth me tapping into that section there, but it just feels like I'm moving weight. Whereas if I'm in this like position where my elbows are in front of me and I'm working in the short range, like a preacher curl or something, my biceps just get fucking lit up. So yeah. Next question: do you think you can say 10 to 12% body fat year round and make gains? Me personally, no. I perform very well at 15 plus. If I'm below that, my training just suffers a little bit. Just leverages, bracing, all that good stuff. My pressing really suffers a little bit. It does suffer. I personally couldn't. Could someone? Sure. You've seen with like when we did a podcast with Dirk a while back, he doesn't really get that fluffy. So I definitely think you can. However, for the most part, for the majority of you guys watching this, you're probably worth exploring the upper echelon of body fat and just to see where training performance gets, because I can pretty much guarantee it's probably going to be fucking good. So yeah, some people can, most people can't, unfortunately. So what things do you do outside of training? How do you switch off from it all, given it's your job? You obviously seen, or maybe not, I've started taking up golf. That's definitely something that I am very, very passionate about. And it's kind of hit me by surprise, to be honest, but I didn't really expect to love golf as much as I do. Because essentially it's kind of like, again, my work day is bodybuilding, content creation, bodybuilding, right? I did and do still find it very hard to switch off, but like even going upstairs on my work break and like editing this, instead of having like bodybuilding related podcasts, I'm now actually having like golf related, like how to perfect my swing, and it's actually quite nice to kind of flick the switch. I also thoroughly enjoy like just going outside, walks and stuff, but I also really fucking enjoy traveling. Like that's my like, if I want to switch off from bodybuilding, I will just book a holiday somewhere and just go somewhere and just explore a new city, a new culture, something like that, right? Obviously it can't happen every week, but that's something that I really enjoy. And obviously when the vid happened, it was kind of, it happened to us all, but it kind of really like, yeah, it kind of dampened spirit in terms of that regard. Like I could definitely say that was a period in my life where mental health was pretty impacted, but I think everyone's was. So yeah. Next question is, who's winning the Super Bowl this year? I have a very, very weird and sneaky suspicion that the LA Rams will win again. I just think they have a very fucking good team. I think it's almost like the Real Madrid back in the day when they used to have like Beckham, Zidane, Roberto Carlos, Ronaldo, and all that kind of good that team, that soccer team. It's kind of like LA Rams have got that, and it's very much like the stars of the NFL. I do think that they work very well as a team. I really fucking like Sean McVay, even though I think he's a bit of a cock, but he's a bit. It reminds me a bit like that Red Bull Hornier. Is it Hornier? He reminds me a bit of him, but I think the LA Rams will win this year. And then last question, last but definitely not least, does exercise order really make a difference? If so, by how much? So, it does make a difference. I can't obviously put a spot measurement on how much of a difference it makes. However, I could just say that it makes a difference. Go into the gym, put your pull session on and flip the switch. So flip it around, do biceps first, do blah, 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 then do RDLs last. Pretty much guarantee that you will not match my RDL numbers. So yeah, I mean, a good way of going about this is just basically go into your gym, flip your training program on its head, as in just go into the gym, have your exercise order, flip it on its head, and then you'll see how much of a difference it makes. The amount of clients that come back to me and say this exercise was no good, I had to, like, someone was on the machine, instead of waiting I did this exercise, I came back to that exercise and I was down by 4 reps. It's remarkable how many times that's happened. So does it really matter? Fucking too right it does. There's especially with my clients, their exercises are in a certain order for a fucking good reason, because I think about it a lot. But if you've created your own program, you've likely thought about it a lot too, right? So yeah, if you thought about it for a reason, you've got it like a jigsaw, and then you've like completely turned it on its head. Yeah, it's gonna impact it a little bit. So, or a lot really. Anyway, that was today's Q&A. Hope you all. Next exercise, next video is going to be a full day of eating. I know I said about the last time it was going to be a full day of eating, but next time is actually going to be a full day of eating, because I remembered I put this question box out on Instagram. Anyway, hope you all.